It's on.
Okay, Vice Chair Mahmood, we are live at 6:02 p.m.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Good evening. Chair Varick is not able to attend tonight's meeting. I will be acting as chair for tonight's meeting. It is June 24th, 2020 at 6:03 on June 24th, 2020. I will call this meeting into action. Call this meeting into order. Due to the shelter in place and COVID-19, the Citizens Advisory Committee has chosen Zoom as its meeting platform. During the meeting, please mute your mic if you haven't already done so. And please mute your mic now. My name is Zain Mahmood. I think I already read that. These are the instructions of the meeting. I will request any committee questions and comments on an agenda item. If you would like to speak, please physically raise your hand or press *9 if you are attending by phone, and Fifi or I will call upon you. Please unmute your mic. After you speak, please remute your mic. I will request any public comment. If anyone from the public attending this meeting wishes to speak during an agenda item, please physically raise your hand or press *9, and if you are attending by phone. Fifi or I will call on you to speak, and then you may be able to unmute your mic. You will have 3 minutes to speak. After 3 minutes, your mic will automatically be remuted and your hand will be lowered. If an action is required on an agenda item, the chair will call for a vote. Fifi will conduct a roll call vote. When Fifi calls upon you, please unmute your mic, announce your vote, and then remute your mic. Fifi, to start this meeting, can you please take roll call now?
Yes, I can. Okay, when I call your name, please state your presence in the meeting by saying here. Committee Member Bristow.
Here.
Committee Member Bauer.
Here.
Committee Member Bustamante. Committee Member Hammond.
Here.
Thank you. Committee Member Hurley.
Here.
Committee Member Isola. Committee Member Linder. Committee Member Miller.
Present.
Committee Member Moriarty.
Here.
Committee Member Powles. Committee Member Rosenberg. I see you here and there. Thank you. Committee Member Strongman. Committee Member Vega. Committee Member Yao.
Here.
Vice Chair Mahmood. And Chair Wyrick. Vice Chair Mahmood, please note that committee members Bustamante, Isola, and Linder are all absent.
Thank you.
Fifi, member Linder is in the room.
Is she in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me make sure she's a yeah, she's a co-host.
Would you like to ask again?
Last call for Bustamante. Last call for Isola. Last call for Powles. Last call for Strongman. Last call for Vega.
Thank you, Fifi.
You're welcome.
Okay, there is a request. We received a request from a agency, the City of Martinez, and they would like to change the role in regards to their growth management checklist. We had marked it for number 2, but unless anybody objects, since they are here already, they'd like to be moved up to the first item. Does anybody object?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna move the item to number 1 for the review of City of Martinez calendar year 2016 and 2017 growth management program compliance checklists. There's an update in the record from what's written so note for the record. This is 2016 and 2017 growth management program compliance checklists. Matt Kelly is going to lead off and present in regards to how we're going to process this checklist and what would be needed of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Mahmood. So tonight, I just want to, since a lot of you in the room, in terms of the committee members, this is the first time you're reviewing a checklist or seeing the presentation thereof. Just want to frame things for you. So we're right at the transition between the last checklist period and the new checklist period. So where Vice Chair Mahmood talked about or corrected the years in the agenda, Martinez is reporting on its calendar year 2016 and 2017 checklist. And then the county, who will be on later this evening, will be reporting on their calendar year 2018 and 2019 checklist. So just wanted to make that clear. The Martinez is the last checklist you'll see from the last cycle, and county is the first checklist you'll see from the new cycle. So they're reporting on different time periods, but it's still the same information being reported on. So just wanted to make that clear to everybody before we get started. We have 3 members of City of Martinez's staff here tonight. We have Zach Seal, we have Christina Ratcliffe, and Randy Lipton. I hope I didn't butcher your name, Randy. But I will hand it over to Zach, as I believe he's going to lead the presentation for the city. And take it away, Zach.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And I want to thank the Community Advisory Committee for allowing us to move our item up. We wanted to make sure that all of our staff has the opportunity to present and provide information to you tonight. And one of our staff persons has a community meeting right after this one that they need to get to. So good evening, members of the CCTA Community Advisory Committee. My name is Zach Seal. I'm the Senior Management Analyst for the City of Martinez, and I worked as part of our interdepartmental effort at the City of Martinez to get this report together. As Matt alluded to, normally this report would have been submitted to the CAC as well as the full CCTA board last year. However, we did request an extension, and we wanted to acknowledge and also thank the CCTA for granting that extension. The reason was because the transportation engineer, the planner, the finance director, the city manager, and also a lot of our transportation staff who had worked on the previous reports are no longer with the city. So we needed a little bit of extra time to get a handle on the report and to find all of our internal documents. It is a little interesting that all of the city staff who had worked on the previous report is no longer with the city for one reason or another. But I do think that's a coincidence. I'm not reading too deeply into that. And on the bright side, we do have everything now in place and ready to go. We found all of our documents. And so I think that the next report that we submit, we will actually be presenting ahead of time. So with that, I would like to utilize my screen share and pull up our PowerPoint document. So Matt, when I click on share screen, the options I have are one participant can share at a time. Maybe I should try multiple participants can share simultaneously.
I'm not sure who else is sharing, but I switched to that option here too. So see if you can
See, I've also got advanced sharing options. So
Yeah.
what I'm clicking on is share screen with the green arrow that goes up. Is that what the
Yep.
button I should be clicking on?
Yep. And it's not letting you do it?
It's not. So I click on it. I've
Let me
got,
see who else here is sharing their screen.
I can also email it to you if we have time for that so that you can pull it up if you are able to pull up documents.
You certainly can do that. I'm going to make you the host right now and see if
Can you
that,
try again, Matt? I changed some settings. Have them try again.
oh, okay, try again. Says.
Oh, here we
Terry.
go. Thank you.
Oh.
All righty. I think I may have been clicking on the wrong button anyway, but regardless, it looks like, all righty. So everybody can see our beautiful page 1 of our PowerPoint here.
We can.
There we go. Okay, so let's see. Go to slide number 2. So last Wednesday, a week ago, our city council adopted a resolution approving the city of Martinez's Measure G Growth Management Program compliance checklist, and also authorized our city manager to submit it to the CCTA. And so here we are a week later, and the checklist that was approved by our city council is in your packet for your review. Also on this call, along with myself, is Christina Ratcliffe, as Matt mentioned, our Director of Community and Economic Development. She's going to be talking about some of our planning projects, our housing productions, as well as our accessory dwelling unit ordinance. And also on the call is Randy Leptine. He's one of our city engineers. He'll be talking briefly about some of our road repair projects, and also our, oh, it looks like the presentation has got a mind of its own. So Randy will be talking about some of our road repair projects, and then also our Amtrak intermodal station and some updates to report on that project. Next Wednesday, the planning committee for the CCTA will be reviewing our checklist. And then if all goes well, on July 15th, the full CCTA board will be reviewing our report. So with that, I will turn the presentation over to Christina. And Christina, go ahead, you have the floor.
I had to unmute myself, sorry. What I'm seeing, could you press, click on slideshow? Because
Oh,
I see the slide and then the sorting thing on the left side. So on the top band, there's a slideshow.
let's see. So what? So I see 2 different slides on my screen, which I haven't seen before.
I think it's F7.
Oh, click
Yeah,
on F, press on F7.
I think it's F7 or F5. I'm sorry.
I tried F7. Let me try F5. So Christina, do you see 2 slides up on your screen or 1 slide?
I see a slide, but on the left side, I see 6 others. You know,
Interesting.
so, okay. So did you press slideshow at the top band? How you can go file, home, insert.
It looks like you're not in presenter view yet,
Oh, Christina's not in presenter view, or I'm
the
not?
slideshow.
Oh.
So yeah, just click the slideshow tab. That's
It's
2
very
over, 2 to the left from where you are now.
Oh, should I see show taskbar and display settings?
Oh,
I think you probably, when you go to share screen,
Oh,
we're
Oh, there
almost
you go.
there.
like it. That looks like it. Can you go to the next slide then?
That work?
That works for me.
Okay.
Everybody else can see that? Okay. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about housing production, submittals, and our accessory dwelling unit ADU ordinance. So housing production from 2016 through 2019, we had 53 units, and this is built, not submitted, but this is all built, including 8 accessory dwelling units and 3 below moderate units. So, and just to put it in context, Martinez is 13 square miles, and we have about 14,000 dwelling units total. So small, and we don't have a lot of room to grow. We're pretty well maxed out. In 2019, we did have Zach, can you back up a minute?
There you go.
Thanks. We did have a 92 unit subdivision that was approved. The plans for the building of those homes, those are single family residential. None of them are affordable. Those have not been submitted yet, but we do expect them coming in. There've been some, this is the traditions at the Meadow, the Pine Meadow golf course issue. So there's been a lot of litigation around this, and it's been kind of stop and start since probably 2015, I think. In 2020 though, so thus far, okay, so just to recap, in case you guys missed it, it's June, it's 6 months, there's a pandemic. We were shut down for a long time. But thus far we have 6 accessory dwelling unit submittals. We have a revised submittal for the Amari apartment project. That was a project that was originally submitted in 2016, and then it stopped. The applicant withdrew. They made a lot of changes. They've resubmitted for a total of 183 units, 9 of which are very low income units. And that's an apartment complex. We're working on the environmental document right now for that, and expect to bring that to the Planning Commission and the council, actually only the Planning Commission, in the fall. So that's exciting. And 6 ADUs. And I just want to talk, we are a small city, as I said. 6 ADUs is more than we had in the last 2 years combined in the first 6 months. And a lot of that is the state rulings or in the state legislation. And a lot of it, quite truthfully, is what we're hearing is people in response to the pandemic. They're like, I got laid off, I need another source of income, or my relative needs a place to stay, I want an ADU. And although we only have 6 that have been submitted yet, literally there are probably 10 calls or more a week of help me through this. How do I do this? Where do I go? What do I do? So we are expecting several more, a lot more ADUs going forward, especially now that construction is opened up, and next week we're starting to open up taking appointments only for submittals and building permits and stuff like that. ADU ordinance, as I'm sure you're all aware, the state had multiple changes to the accessory dwelling unit or requirements. We're working right now on drafting a document, and we anticipate having it to the Planning Commission in the next 2 months. And this would just make it, I mean, it's easy now with the state. This would make it a whole lot easier to build accessory dwelling units. And we hope the council is very much behind this. Planning Commission is very much behind this. We want to move, we want to go forward with this and get people housed. So, and that's what I have. Go ahead, Zach.
All righty, thank you, Christina. I think I've got the hang of this. When you're a host, it's a little bit different than being a participant. My screen looks like a spaceship dashboard, but I think I've got it. Randy, do you see your first slide, which would be the Brown Street slide?
I see it now. I see it now. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I do. Yeah, we hear you, Randy. So when you're ready for the next slide, just say next and I'll move it along.
Appreciate it. Well, good evening, everyone. And thank you for inviting us. As Zach mentioned, we've had quite a bit of turnover in the city, and I'm really, as Matt Kelly knows, been pinch hitting a bit. We had Tim Tucker was a 18-year city engineer, retired about 15 months ago. So we have an interim city engineer and then myself taking over. That slide, well, it's back, thanks, is Brown Street. That's one of the funded projects for the subject years. It was 2017. It was a mill and fill job. This is the portion between.
I can't hear you.
Randy, you still there?
So Randy
Randy may have dropped off.
I can see him talking, but
Talking, but I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me yet?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, my bandwidth at my house is not great, so I apologize. Just bear with if you can. It usually comes back. We can go to the next slide. This was part of the same project. Brown Street was coupled with Green Street, which is further downtown. It's about 4 blocks from Main Street. And it is, again, this is just on the east side of Alhambra Avenue, which is one of the main arterials into town. This was the same type of project with a mill and fill, I think 4 inches and replacement with new rubber AC. The next slide. This was a project that was not funded within the by CCTA, but is an important part of our intermodal station overall facilities. You can see it's a pedestrian and bicycle crossing of a water feature. This is an important link to the downtown. It provides access to parking, which is funded further in further years, not in 1617. This is from the extension of Berryessa Street on the north side of the railroad tracks, just on the north side of the tracks, crossing Alhambra Creek and into a recreational facility and parking area for the intermodal facility and the marina area. Next slide. This is the intermodal station major pedestrian access to that same area. This is looking east, and this project has been delayed. It was well on its way to being completed last year, but they had problems with the elevator shaft and the elevator in that structure on the left-hand side. That's been completed. I understand that the elevator is to be certified next week. And next slide. And this is that same structure looking to the west at the train station. And actually a similar photo adorns the city website. I'm very proud of this. And I think that's the end of my slides.
So that's the end of our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions from the Community Advisory Committee members or from staff.
Do we have any questions? Well, I have a question. I really like the pedestrian bridge. I'm a little bit curious. What type of modes come into the intermodal pedestrian bridge and the station?
Well, Martinez is very unique in that it sits on the waterfront there. So of course we have the Capital Corridor Express runs right through town here as a prior to the pandemic, a large ridership. We have of course, the automobile. So the train station is there. There is a ferry slip, of course, to Martinez, and that I'm old enough to remember when there was a ferry in Martinez. So that's sort of a dream, but there's a potential for that. It's a heavily used bicycle a destination, really, on weekends, particularly, not so much during the weekdays, but recreational wise, the very significant bicycle trail leading from Martinez to Crockett along the Carquinez Straits.
And I would also add that in addition to Amtrak, of course, operating through this corridor, we also have a hub of several different bus agencies and bus lines that stop right in the Amtrak station. So a lot of folks are transferring between the bus and Amtrak. And then if you look to the right side of the slide, there's a parking lot there, which can be used by Amtrak passengers. We also, just to the right of that parking lot, have 2 youth sports facilities. So we anticipate that a lot of pedestrians will use the bridge to cross over from those facilities over the tracks and into our downtown to support some of our local businesses on Main Street.
Yeah, if I could, Zach, mention the one thing I was going to mention, but one project that is yet in its infancy is the Pacheco Boulevard improvements, which currently about a 2-mile stretch between the Highway 4 basically to Morello Avenue is under study. It's 3/4 in the county, 1/4 in the city. There's a significant study been prepared. It's a route of arterial significance and a significant potential bicycle corridor as well. And so we're looking for funding on that to build at least this portion that's in Martinez. County is working on their portion.
So that's going to be Capitol Corridor goes to, I think it's Emeryville or Jack London Square.
Both.
Both.
Yeah, I think all the way down to San Jose to the south and up to Sacramento to the north.
Oh, that's going to be well, because I hear we're getting a station in Oakley. Maybe it'll come by to Martinez.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what? This is a really good presentation, and we want to thank the city of Martinez for coming out and having this all available to us.
Vice
Matt,
Chair Mahmood, I want to just see if Claire Linder has any questions. I'm going to try and unmute her because I thought she might. Claire, are you able to talk, or do you have a question? I guess.
Hi, I'm here. Can
Hi,
you hear
Claire.
me?
Yeah.
Thank you for calling on me. I had some technical difficulties, but I am here, and thank you for calling on me.
All right.
Yeah, I've bike commuted in this area, so I'm looking forward to using that bridge myself.
Great. Hello?
Yep.
we can hear you, Claire.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Claire. So if we don't have any further discussion, can we get a motion to approve? And I think, Claire, would you like to bring that motion about? Or actually, Matt, who would be the member? The closest.
Well, we don't have a representative from the city of Martinez, so a neighboring city would be welcome to, like Concord, or I think Concord is our, and then the county. I think those are our two neighboring jurisdictions to Martinez that we have representatives on the committee.
Okay, this is Claire from Concord, then motion to approve.
I will second. This is Ed Miller.
If you do, we have a roll call.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just saving it. Okay. Sorry, technical difficulties. All right. Committee member Bristow,
Yes.
how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay. Committee member Bauer,
Approve.
committee member Hammond,
Approve.
committee member Hurley,
Approve.
committee member Linder,
Aye. Approve.
committee member Miller,
I approve.
committee member Moriarty,
Approve.
committee member Rosenberg,
Approve.
committee member Yao,
Approve.
vice chair Mahmood,
Approve.
okay, motion passes unanimously by all members present.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Thanks, everyone, from Martinez.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, the next item that was actually the first item that's been brought up. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The next item would be the election. On our agenda, this is the election for the chair and vice chair for 2020. If you would like to make a nomination for either chair or vice chairman, please raise your hand or press *9. Each nomination must be accepted by the committee members before it can be voted on. Committee members, the floor is yours. Do I have a nomination for chair and vice chair for CAC?
Don't be shy. Someone has to run the show. Come on.
I'll nominate Ed Miller.
Do you have a second?
Do you have a
I
second?
second.
Is that for chair or vice chair?
Chair.
Okay. I'd like to nominate Zane
For,
for the chair person. Sorry.
okay. Is there a second for that?
I second.
Seconded.
Who was that?
Rosenberg.
Okay. So it looks like we have two motions for chair, one from committee member Hurley, one from committee member Miller.
I'd actually like to nominate committee member Lindner for the chair.
Okay.
I see a pattern here. Someone nominates someone and then that someone nominates someone else. Just an
Sounds like we need-
observation.
Sounds like we need a primary.
I nominate what?
And do we have any nominations for the vice chair? Fifi, can we handle all that under one
We can.
motion? Okay.
Yes, we can. Let's narrow down the chairs and then we'll narrow down the vice chairs and then we can vote on it. It'll be easier that way, just so that we know if each person has accepted that nomination, if they are interested in running in for that position or holding that position.
Sounds reasonable.
So, okay. So if there's no further discussion, do I have a motion and a second?
I move to close the, are we moving to close the nominations?
Well, actually,
For
we have
chair, but
other
we need.
nominations for the vice chair.
Oh, got it.
Can I nominate Zain Mahmood for vice chair? This is Claire.
Okay.
Do we have any comments from the public? If so, please raise your hand and press *9.
If Larry is willing to entertain, by the way, this is Ed Miller speaking, sorry.
Hi, Ed.
If Larry's willing to entertain it, I would like to nominate him for the the vice chair.
Thank you. I'll accept. Thank you very much.
If there's no further discussion, do we have a motion and a second?
I so move
please,
that we
close.
close nominations.
Yeah,
I'll second.
I'll second.
okay.
Already seconded.
Okay, so now we have committee member Hurley, committee member Miller, and committee member Mahmood, or vice chair Mahmood. in line for the chair.
I think it wasn't a member Hurley nominated member Miller.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Hurley nominated Miller. Miller nominated Mahmood, and Mahmood nominated Linder. I love working with you guys.
I guess we need to find out if all three are interested in.
Do you accept your nominations? If you do not, we can move forward with voting on one.
I will accept my nomination for chair.
I will accept my nomination.
Gee, can I
Any other
retract
ones?
my nomination? I have very strong competition from Mr. Miller.
No. And is the other nominee Claire?
Yes, she's the other nominee for vice chair.
Yes, I decline my nomination.
Okay, well, that makes it easy.
Okay.
So for chair, we have Miller and Mahmood, and for vice chair, we have Miller.
And Larry, I nominated Larry and he accepted.
And Larry Rosenberg. So we have two.
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent.
So exactly who is running for chair?
Mahmood and I, Zane and I, sorry.
So we need to call it to a vote now.
Okay, and I call the vote, right?
Right, so you'll need to call a vote
Okay,
for the chair and the vice chair.
all right. All in favor of
For Miller or
for Mr. Miller of the City of Clayton, please vote right now for the position of chairman of the Citizen Advisory Committee of CCTA.
How do you want us to vote?
Yeah,
would you
Raise
like to
our
do a
hand.
roll call vote?
roll call.
Yeah, roll call.
So, committee member Bristow, who do you vote for?
I vote for Miller.
Okay, committee member Bauer,
Miller.
committee member Hemmon,
Abstain.
okay. Committee member Hurley,
Miller.
committee member Linder,
Abstain.
committee member Miller,
Zane,
committee member Moriarty,
Mahmood.
committee member Rosenberg,
Miller.
committee member Yao,
Name.
could you repeat that?
Abstain. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Committee member, vice chair Mahmood.
Oh, I vote for Miller.
So it looks like the new chair of the CAC is committee member Miller. Congratulations.
thank you all very much.
Now we just need a motion and a second to vote on the vice chair. And the two nominations are for, well, I guess since Miller is out, would be for committee member Larry Rosenberg.
I so move.
Excuse me, I think we also had Zane. I think,
He withdrew himself. Would you
Oh,
like
from the
to?
vice.
That's fine. I can be in the voting for vice chair, and then whoever decides, that's fine.
Okay.
So I have a motion to vote for vice chair between committee member Rosenberg and committee member Zane. And if you please begin the roll call.
Okay. For Vice Chair, Committee Member Bristow, how do you vote?
Rosenberg,
Committee Member Bauer,
Rosenberg,
Committee Member Hammond,
Abstain.
Committee Member Hurley,
Abstain.
Committee Member Linder,
Zane,
Committee Member Miller,
Sorry, Rosenberg,
Committee Member Moriarty,
Abstain.
Committee Member Rosenberg.
I think I'll vote for Rosenberg. I know him.
Committee Member Yao,
Larry.
and Vice Chair Mahmood.
I vote for committee member Rosenberg.
Okay.
Okay, so I, by a landslide, Committee Member Rosenberg is our new Vice Chair.
Thank you.
wonderful. Look forward to working with you, Larry.
Look forward to it, Ed. Thank you so much.
Would you like to transition over to running our meeting? Or are you okay with Vice Chair Mahmood completing this meeting and then you'll start the next?
I think for continuity, it makes the most sense to let the vice chair proceed tonight, but I'll be absolutely ready to go for our next meeting.
Thank
You'll have to
you.
pass that virtual gavel.
Thank you, Chair Miller, and this is to you.
I love it.
IKEA.
You hit the nail right on the head, Mahmood.
Okay, so do we need any other motions, or is that it?
You're good to go on this item, sir.
Okay. The next item in front of the CCTA, Citizens Advisory Committee, on the agenda is public comment. Fifi, have we received any public comments?
We did receive one public comment card. It was from Bruce Olson of the Bike East Bay. And I will go ahead and read it to the committee. Good evening, CAC board members. I am Bruce Olson, a resident of Pittsburgh and regular user of bicycle for personal transportation around our county. My comment has to do with Goal 5C found on page 25 of the Measure J GMP compliance checklist, quote, where feasible and appropriate, addresses the needs of pedestrians and bicyclists along and connecting the two regional routes, end quote. It seems to me that one cannot get more wishy-washy and less strong than this goal. Routes of regional significance for motorists are routes of regional significance for pedestrians and bicyclists too. It seems to me that the three listed projects are commiserate with the toothlessness of the goal. It is my opinion that the county can do better than this. Thank you for accepting my comment on the Measure J Growth Management Plan Compliance Checklist. Best wishes, Bruce Olson.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak during public comment on an item that is not part of the agenda? If so, please raise your right hand or *9, and I or the staff will call upon you and unmute your microphone.
I don't see any hands raised.
And Fifi, in that public comment, what was the item that they said, an item number on the GMP?
They were referring to the county's checklist item, which is 3.1.
Okay, and is that in all checklists? They have that same category?
Yes, but this one was referenced to the counties specifically.
Okay, well, in the following, when we look at other cities and other counties, other cities within our county, then maybe we'll look closer at that item.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the approval of summary of actions from May 27, 2020. Are there any changes, comments, etc. from the committee? If so, please raise your hand or press *9 if attending by phone. If anyone from the public would like to speak, please raise your hand. If there's no further discussion, do I have a motion and a second?
I'll motion to approve Billy Hurley.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, let's have a
I'm
roll
sorry,
call.
who seconded?
I did. Bristow.
Bristow, thank you. Okay, I'll go ahead and start with the roll call vote. I'm sorry, my computer has just decided to slow down. Okay, Committee Member Bristow, how do you vote?
Yes, I approve.
Committee Member Bauer,
Approve.
Hammond,
Approve.
Hurley,
Approve.
Linder,
Abstain.
okay, Committee Member Miller,
Approve.
Moriarty,
Approve.
Powell's, sorry, he's absent. Rosenberg,
Approve.
Committee Member Yao,
Approve.
and Committee Member Mahmood.
Approve.
Okay, motion passes unanimously by all members present,
That's not true. I abstain.
with Member Linder abstaining.
There we go.
Okay, I have an item that was actually in our regular agenda items. It has been reordered below since we took City of Martinez in the beginning. And this would be item number 1 in our regular agenda items. This is the Contra Costa County's calendar year 2018 and 2019 Road Management Program Compliance Checklist. This will be presented by our very own Matt Kelly and our county staff, Fifi.
Thanks, Vice Chair Mahmood. I just wanted to introduce county staff who are here tonight to present the county's checklist. We have Colin Piethy. Colin, I always butcher your last name. I'm sorry. And we have Robert Sarmiento, our veteran checklist presenter from county staff. So I just wanted to turn it over to Colin, as I believe he will be our main presenter tonight. And go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Let me share my screen real quick here. Okay. All right, we'll jump right in. So thank you, committee members, for having me. I will keep this brief. For this presentation, I'll just give you guys the highlights from our checklist. I decided to just take stock of the attachments we provided for our checklist because those ones have the additional explanation for our compliance with the checklist. Okay. So to preface everything, we are fortunately in compliance for all items on the checklist. And this will be just a summary of the highlights. So a few of the actions needed to be in compliance with action plan reporting was to create a spreadsheet of all Board of Supervisor actions that were new in the calendar years 2018 and 2019 related to implementing the Regional Transportation Planning Committee action plans. So a few of those from county-wide actions, this is not in the individual RTPCs, are pursuing funding related to electric vehicle infrastructure, securing planning grants for Vision Zero, Iron Horse and Marsh Creek corridor studies, and the Short Line Rail study in Northern Waterfront. We also participated in the Diablo Street Smarts program, which is a safe routes to school related education program. We also participated in Innovate 680 planning efforts and approved the receipt of Transportation Development Act funding from MTC. And then also in regards to RTPC actions and development applications, we circulated environmental documents per those action plan requirements. So that would be, for example, when a project generates more than 100 trips and requires a general plan amendment, or generates over 500 trips. Sorry, the previous one is without a general plan amendment, and the latter is with one. And so also related to that last point, these are two projects that did receive general plan amendments. The Delaware Apartments project, stone's throw from Pleasant Hill BART. This is a good multifamily residential project that will promote more transit-oriented development in that area. And then our Bayview Estates residential project in Vine Hill near Martinez. So we did not condition these projects to, have any extra conditions to be consistent with the RTPC action plans in regards to the regional routes. So regarding our housing element implementation, we submitted our 2017 and 2018 housing element reports to the state. Those were found to be compliant. I do not believe we have gotten status on our 2019 report. But the next slide is the allocation of housing units that we've produced in the county per that last report. So as you can see, we're doing quite well in responding to the current market and producing above moderate income housing, and not doing quite so well in producing affordable housing in the low to very low brackets. And as we all know, this is a continual challenge given declining state from the federal and state levels for housing. And here is just a closer look at the remaining units that the state is asking us to produce. So again, the RHNA is a regional housing needs assessment, is calls for the planning of these type of units, but it does not require us to build them. So these are, again, just a kind of a summary of those numbers. And then the next item is our complete streets policy. Per the checklist, one of the items asks that the jurisdiction accommodates the needs of non-motorized roadway users. So we passed this policy in 2016 to be eligible for state and regional funding, and to also promote the goals in our general plan. We were one of the first jurisdictions to pass a general plan amendment in 2008 to call for a complete streets philosophy approach to planning for streets. And lastly, we have our growth management element. The county developed its own growth management element as part of its general plan prior to CCTA's model growth element and growth management element. And table 4.2 in the document shows how we are consistent with CCTA's model growth management element. Excuse me, sorry for the last one. This is a LSM reporting is the last slide. So in this form, we showed how we are spending Measure J funds to repair and maintain our streets. And a few of these activities include repairing roads from rain damage, doing repaving projects, and then capital and maintenance projects, such as the Canal Road Bridge and Alhambra Valley Road shoulder widening, as well as environmental studies and engineering.
Colin, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Colin, this might be a little bit off topic, but I'm sure that you guys manage majority of the housing and transportation you guys are working on is, if I'm correct, in unincorporated areas of the county.
That's correct.
So the question I had was, I think we did a survey or we did some review in previous sessions, and we noticed that majority of them are agricultural, farmland, or very large single-family lots. How has it been going with the general plan redesign to get some multi-density or some multifamily in the unincorporated areas in the outskirts of these cities? How far has that gone through, if you know?
So I don't have quantitative data for that question, but I will say that as part of our general plan update process, we are redefining the brackets of land use designations for residential uses. So there's wider ranges of density allowed. So that means that at the lower end of the scale, towards like the single family level, we're allowing more units. And that could include accessory dwelling units, perhaps like duplexes. We haven't ironed out the details yet, so I don't want to go as far as to say like duplexes or triplexes, but the general move or general trend in planning now to be consistent with state climate goals is to increase density. And we're seeing that as well in the shift for SB 743 to analyze vehicle miles traveled instead of level of service. So that's encouraging more infill development. So we're working on it, but definitely follow our Envision Contra Costa 2040 project to stay tuned for those the more interesting details of that.
Thank you, Colin. Do you have other questions?
Yes, I have a question. Colin, I've seen that repairs are being done again in Far East in Byron, where Camino Diablo is being repaired again. I was wondering, there are a couple of streets that I spoke to Robert about some time ago. They were declared private streets because the county at that time didn't take them over. Is there any way that they could become part of the county, because they are streets in Byron, like First Street and Washington Street and Hosey Street?
Right. I would definitely have to defer to my public works colleagues on that question.
Okay.
More broadly speaking, though, I know that our public works department is in general reluctant to take ownership of new roads, given that we're already stretched thin in maintaining the over 600 miles of roads that we currently have. However, if there's a compelling reason to take on the maintenance of new roads, then I'm sure we're more than willing, but I would need to know more, or not me, excuse me, Public Works would need to know more about that question.
Thank you. And then I have one more question. State Route 239, the last time we talked before all this pandemic happened, was in projects. Is there any more of an update on any of that?
Right. So I actually spoke to Matt just before this regarding this project, thinking that it would come up since it's such a it's been lurking in the background for a while. The latest update is that it's in the environmental study phase. So it's chugging along. It looks like it'll be going forward given that study. So Matt, if you want to add in more details, that'd be great.
Great.
Yeah, we just signed a contract, I believe in May, with the consultant. So we have a consultant on board. The teams are starting to meet. There's a lot of momentum.
Great.
Yeah, I just want to say the presentation you received last month talked about some cuts we may need to make to various projects around the county. Fortunately, that is funded by a federal grant, so it is not at risk of being defunded by CCTA. So that project will run its course, and we should have some design alternatives before too long.
Thank you. That's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much.
This is Robert Sarmiento. Patty, I just want to go back to your first question about Public Works possibly taking over that some existing private roads out in Byron. Yeah, we would refer that request to Public Works staff, and I guess they would have to do an analysis to determine if the road, if it's up to county standards, or if it can be brought up to county standards for a public road. So those are the kind of things they would look at to determine if this is a road they can take as public, or if they can't, they'll just leave it as private and have the private owners maintain the road.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have two. Can you be a little bit more specific about where the housing is on the West County side, and whether or not Measure J funding has been assigned to Kensington?
Wait, sorry, I can't see
Okay,
who's speaking. Can you please
My name is
speak up?
Hi. My name is Bruce. You probably don't see a picture of me, but
Okay.
I'm just interested in was any projects designated for the city of Kensington? And could you be more specific about where the housing could be in West County?
I heard the last part of your question. I'm sorry, my computer's connection's breaking up. Can you please repeat the first?
Measure J funding, how does that affect the city of Kensington?
Oh, Kensington. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so just really quick, Kensington's not a city, it's just one of our unincorporated communities. So Measure J funding would be allocated to projects like street repair, repaving, potentially roadway projects like that. Does that answer your question?
Somewhat, but I never really seen any activity up there.
I see. Yeah, I think we've been doing outreach as part of the general plan, and I don't think we heard like anecdotally about serious transportation concerns from Kensington residents. If you want, though, I can put you in touch with my colleagues who are doing the general plan and see if they've heard more pressing concerns. In that case, we'd be happy to look at potential project with you.
And this is Robert again from the county. Bruce, I just want to add, and Colin, please chime in. You may be aware of this. This with the, I guess when it comes to Measure J funds and in the unincorporated county, I guess most, usually we would use those funds, for, road maintenance and repaving and things like that. And our county public works staff, they, review, pavement conditions throughout the county, and they determine, they review it annually, and they determine which roads are most in need of, repaving. And I guess if you haven't seen any in Kensington, any repaving efforts in Kensington, it's maybe the pavement conditions are good out there. But yeah, the county, they undertake, an annual assessment of, pavement conditions around the unincorporated county, and that would most likely be the time that Measure J funds would be used in Kensington. At this time, yeah, we don't have any like active projects that are going on in Kensington, not that I'm aware of.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing. Sorry, one last thing. I remember. Thanks for that, Robert. I remember seeing one project in. We're currently reviewing Public Works' capital projects list. It's called the short for the CRIP. I'm forgetting the full acronym right now. And I do believe there is a safety project in Kensington. I'm forgetting which road. There's hundreds of projects in that list, but I do remember specifically Kensington has an unfunded project in that list. So if you want to follow up, I can give you the name of that.
There should be some documentation. I'll do my own research there. But how about moderate housing in the west side of the county?
You said moderate housing?
Any kind of housing,
Oh, any,
low,
right,
low,
yeah.
very low, and moderate.
Oh yeah, of income, right. So I'm not really sure how to answer that. I know in Kensington, the current zoning is pretty low density, single family. I think if we want to see more high density housing, especially closer to like the El Cerrito BART stations, then you should definitely let.
How about west of the
Excuse me?
Del Norte BART station? How about west of the Del Norte BART station?
Oh, you mean like in the unincorporated areas over there?
Actually,
Exactly,
Colin,
in Richmond. In Richmond.
Oh, in
and
Richmond.
Colin,
Yeah.
let me, if you don't mind, Bruce, just to answer your questions. You know, what we could do, because Colin and I, you know, we're in transportation, and what we could do is take your question about housing and check in with our housing staff to see if there's any, you know, what proposed projects are under the entitlement process out in West County, and provide you a list of those projects. We could also know which of those county projects are, as you asked here, west of the Del Norte station. But thinking off the top of my head, I can't recall any unincorporated areas just west of there. So I don't know if you if you're thinking of any area or project, a specific area or specific project.
How about North Richmond?
Okay.
I know we have several. We don't have housing projects that I know of, but there's several distribution centers that are currently going through the environmental process right now. Thanks Robert for that, for the explanation. But back to your initial question, now is definitely the time to reach out to our general plan staff, Will Nelson, and Daniel Barrios, and Maureen Toms, and to let them know that if you want to see more housing options there, we're deciding on the zoning changes and land use patterns, and if we want to reach our transportation goals, like putting folks closer to public transit into BART stations, then we would definitely like to hear that from you.
Thank you. I'm going to communicate with Matt, and then maybe I can communicate with you folks. Just a general. These are general questions. I'm with the city of El Cerrito, and you know, there are a lot of special districts that interact with one another besides just the city in itself. And so I'm just, you know, interested because I grew up here. So I'm sure Matt can share with you my email, which I don't mind. But I'll just phone Matt up, and then maybe I can contact you by phone. I'm just definitely curious about the housing in this area.
Yeah, Bruce, we can coordinate offline, and we'll get you the information from the county.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, thanks, Bruce.
Do we have anybody else? Patty, is that you talking? I think I heard you.
Patty, you're muted.
Sorry, this is Claire from Concord.
Okay.
That's Claire.
Okay, I'll take Claire and then I'll go to Patty.
So this is a administrative question. This is first time doing a checklist. And I'm noticing, for example, under the Transpac area action plans, item 2, support the enhancement expansion of an efficient transit system. And I noticed that everything that has to do with transit or biking and walking, the implementation status all says none. So could you speak to that?
Right. I think that's primarily due to the lack of funding for County Connection, specifically regarding transit. Just kind of simply put, it's a sad fact that the geometry of some of these suburban areas just don't support frequent transit. and it's really difficult to provide service out there. It's difficult and expensive. So I know we do have paratransit service in Central County, so that's one thing going for it. But I think we don't. Robert, feel free to chime in. But yeah, we don't really have too many unincorporated areas in Central County. We have Saranap, the Contra Costa Center, aka Pleasant Hill BART. Not many areas, like the Pleasant Hill BART area is really one of the few areas that's most conducive to transit, biking, and walking. So that's the unfortunate reason for a lack of implementation on those goals.
Hi, Claire. This is Robert. Yeah, I just want to add, are you looking on the, I'm looking at the agenda packet here. Are you looking at PDF page 37 under Transpac area, like goal number 2, where it says support the enhancement and expansion of an efficient transit system?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I mean, where it says none, it means, as Colin alluded to, it says implementation status. So, for these kind of projects, yeah, it's going to be a transit-led project, and in this case, in the Central County, it's County Connection. I think if once they get around to proposing or implementing some kind of project that's similar to what's listed in the checklist, the county would definitely be a partner in that process. But I think for now, since nothing has been implemented so far, that's why it's classified as none. But yeah, that doesn't mean we wouldn't be a partner. Like, as I said, we definitely want to partner up and promote public transit. And you mentioned also biking and walking. We would definitely be proponents of those actions. And we'd update the action plan list as those projects get implemented.
Okay. Right. Oh, sorry. Just one more thing. Yeah, to add to that, when I went through this checklist, I was mostly coming at it from the perspective of land use and street transportation in regards to like what our public works department can actually do. So we weren't taking too many transit considerations, but like Robert said, we definitely support the expansion of transit, more frequent transit in Central County.
So this is one of the many reasons why density is important.
Mm-hmm.
And
agree.
And just from staff, I'll note, Member Linder, that as housing developments come into the county or the surrounding areas, they pay into a mitigation fee that can then fund those improvements that are listed in the action plan. So, develop under the growth management program, development funds these mitigations that are named in the action plan. So that's kind of the mechanism for getting them implemented. But the county isn't in charge of who of the developments coming in. They can approve them, but they don't. If there's no interest in development, it won't happen right away.
Right.
So Matt, if I may just make a point of this housing discussion, you guys can lay the framework and zone it density, but you guys can't make developers come in and build it.
Correct. Right. So I would encourage all of you to become engaged with our general plan update, because this is the opportunity to lay down the rules that allow us to open up the development potential to higher density development.
Yeah, I just want to add, yeah, we could as government, yeah, we could guide development and promote, develop certain types of development through our general plan and zoning. But yeah, in the end, it's the private developer who comes in. So even if we zone the whole county as, say, multifamily, if the developer doesn't think it's a worthwhile investment to him or herself, yeah, we can't, and they don't come in, we can't force them, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the county. Our housing staff, yeah, we continually, update our housing policies in an effort to promote more housing, especially denser housing.
Thank you. This is Claire again. when you're saying engage with the general plan update, is that the Vision 2040?
Yes.
And is that still taking comments, public input?
Definitely. Mhm. Yeah, it's Envision Contra Costa 2040. Yeah, there's not like a chat feature in the Zoom thing right now, but yeah, it's online.
Thank you, Colin.
Yeah.
Claire, any more questions?
So
Yeah.
does Patty, right? Yeah.
Patty.
Yes, we do have a project that was started, I think, over 5 years ago in Byron. We are within the urban limit line, called St. Anne Village Senior Housing. Are you familiar with that, Colin and Robert?
So Robert is definitely familiar with that. I'll defer to him.
Okay.
Thank you, Colin. Yeah, Patty, I'm I guess a transportation planner assigned to reviewing that project. So yeah, I can answer any questions you have.
Well, I see that it isn't moving ahead. Can you update me a little bit on what is happening?
Okay,
It's
you know,
183 units for seniors. It's so needed in East County.
the latest I heard, and this is maybe a month ago, is the developer is still working with the project planner on that. The developer, the landowner, actually the developer, the architect, and county, the project planner, they're all still working out some, I guess, some issues that have come up. So actually right now, I'm not sure where they are in the process. I know one of the concerns with that project was just, at least from a transportation standpoint, was trip generation and what kind of mitigations they would the project would have to establish to mitigate some traffic impacts. So anything there were some discussions about improved pedestrian improvements or shuttle service. So those kind of transportation issues are still being discussed. They're unresolved and still being discussed between me, the project planner, and the applicant.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll just add one last thing too. As far as engaging the county regarding its land use decisions, I would also encourage you guys to participate in public comments at our planning commission meetings. Planning commission is responsible for approving our development projects. So if you're letting them know that you'd like to see different kinds of housing and transportation options, then I think you'll have more momentum in helping us reach those goals.
Colin, Robert, Matt, Fifi, and I think is that all our county staff on board?
I just want to make one correction, and Zaid, and no worries if it gets confusing sometimes. I guess Colin and me were part of Contra Costa County staff, while Matt and Fifi are Contra Costa Transportation Authority staff. So we're actually two different agencies. So Colin and I, we manage the unincorporated county, and CCTA, they manage all the county's transportation, transportation related
sales tax.
Items. So I just wanted to thank you for bringing together the presentation. Thank you for going over, all the minute details throughout the counties. And if possible, somebody who lives in an unincorporated county, I think that might be Patty Bristow.
Sure.
Would you like the motion?
I would like to move that we approve the Contra Costa County 2018-2019 Growth Management Program Compliance Checklist.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it, Billy Hurley.
Thank you. Fifi, would we like a roll call?
Well, I guess that helps if I unmute. Committee Member Bristow?
Yes, I approve.
Committee Member Bauer,
Approve.
Hammond,
Approve.
Hurley,
Approve.
Linder,
Abstain?
Miller,
Approve.
Moriarty,
Approve.
Rosenberg, Yao,
Approve.
Mahmood.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously by all members present, with Committee Member Linder abstaining.
Thank you, Fifi. The next agenda item is reports. Does anybody have a summary report on a recent administration, project committee, planning committee, authority board meeting? Please raise your hand or hit *9.
Zane, sorry to interrupt, but just want to say thank you for and CAC members, thanks for approving the county's checklist.
Yeah, thank you all.
Robert.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Fifi.
I have a question, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I was about to start appreciating the fact that we have these remote meetings via Zoom. And I went to go watch the CCTA meeting from last week, and I'm just wondering if I'm confused. It looked like there was a gap.
Are you referring to the authority board meeting?
Yes, that's correct.
There was some sort of technical issue, unfortunately, and we do have our clerk of the board, Terry Ann, working on that. So there is a gap. There was also, I believe, a closed session. So there's that, but there was a gap in recording as well. And we are working to get that up.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't doing something wrong. I watched it up to the point where Chairperson Pierce called for the Pledge of Allegiance, and the next thing that was coming out of their mouths was, so here's what we decided in the closed session.
Yes,
so I was a little confused.
It's us, not you.
No big deal. I look forward to that. Thank you.
I wish the meetings were all that
those.
quick.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought, wow, this duration can't be correct. But I am looking forward to being able to stay on top of more of the of these meetings, the other meetings, because of this ability to review the video. So this is great.
Okay, so it looks like next we have member or staff comments. Do we have any committee members or staff that have transportation related comments?
Chair Mahmood or Vice Chair Mahmood, if you don't mind, I'd like to make just a quick, show something real quick.
Yes, sir.
So we are a transportation agency. We are in an interesting place and time for transportation right now. We're watching traffic come back, and I just wanted to show you a graph that our consultant produced. This is showing vehicle miles traveled. So this is focusing on autos on our major arterials and freeways. We know there's a lot of other types of travel going on right now on bikes, and lots of people walking and stuff. But in terms of what's going on the highways, I just wanted to show you this. This is vehicle miles traveled. So this is every mile traveled in Contra Costa County at any time of day. And so we go back here, we went all the way back to March of 2019, so a year ago. So you can see, and I think you can see my cursor here. We're going through 2019. This dip right here, that's 4th of July. So it makes sense. You get up here, you're at Thanksgiving of last year, travel dips or driving trips dip. Here's the holiday break, the December holidays, another dip. Then we're going, January, February, March, and here's right about March, I'm thinking 16th or 18th right here, and it dropped off. And it stayed low through most of May, and now you can see we're climbing again. And this is about, I think about a week ago, right here. And so you can see we're actually making our way back to some semblance of normal traffic. So John Huang, our planning director, he's somewhere in the room here. He and I have been looking at this a lot. We've noticed that AM traffic is I'll call it dead. There's not much traffic in the morning, but starting around 2 or 3 p.m., it really picks up, and we're seeing normal, if not higher than normal traffic in the PM period. So all your normal traffic jams, northbound 680, eastbound 4, eastbound 24, eastbound 80, those all look like they did on a normal day, and weekends are coming back as well. But what we're going to start looking at in the planning department is how our highways are going to be impacted when the jobs come back even more and things start reopening. Because what we're in talking with BART, we're finding out that BART is planning for very low ridership for some time now. And so we're thinking that the highways are going to be adversely impacted because people are going to stay off of BART, especially on Highway 24, Highway 80, Highway 4, and the arterials leading to those, freeways and where people would have normally come down Ignacio Valley and stopped at the BART station. They're now going to continue right on to 24, or at least a lot of them. So we're going to be looking at how the roadways are going to be impacted over the next several months. And hopefully we can report back to you on that with a complete report. But just wanted to give you this snapshot today of what traffic is looking like. If people start asking you what's going on with traffic, this is what traffic looks like.
Matt, thank you. Actually, the reports I've been reading is that due to the low utilization of BART and everybody trying to either rent a car or buy a used car, the used car market was propped up. But the other thing is that when they come back, we might see worse traffic jams than before because of the fact that everybody wants to socially distance.
I have a quick question. I have a quick question for Matt. Is there any type of data collection going on for bicycling? The reason I ask is I live in the north end of San Ramon, and I work in Camp Parks in Dublin. I've been biking the Iron Horse Trail for 2 years now since I've lived here, and I can tell you that the biking I've actually resorted to going down Acosta through San Ramon because there's so much traffic on Iron Horse. So I don't know if there's any data collection going on or being thought about for bicycle trips as well.
Yeah, we're definitely hearing that. I live close to the Ohlone Trail over here in West County, and I avoid it because it's like a highway. And we're hearing from the bike advocates that it's a thing. Bikes are sold out. At anything under $1,200 is sold out at the bike shops, and then with used vehicles, anything under $12,000 is a hot property. So yeah, people are definitely trying out new modes to stay distanced or whatever they are trying to do. But we will try and get some data on the bike. The biking data is a little harder to get exact numbers on, but we know it's going to be something we're going to need to be looking at and possibly, prioritizing those types of projects over some other types of projects to support what our residents are doing.
Thanks.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt, we just probably need to wait until everyone has gotten the coronavirus vaccine and has been chipped so that we can get that travel data. Apologies for the joke in bad taste, but there it is.
It's every person who monitors the transportation system's dream, but yeah, it's not what everybody wants.
Yeah.
Cyborgs.
We'll stick with tracking your phones until then.
So do we have any other comments or from our members and our staff?
Fifi's got her hand up.
Yes, ma'am.
I received an email today from committee member Vega, who is not present today, and unfortunately she is, after 13 years, retiring from the CAG. I wish she could have been here today to share that news with you, but she has a whole lot of stuff lined up and is still keeping busy, and she'll be checking in from time to time with us. She wanted me to thank everyone for being so wonderful to work with, and she definitely cherished her time here with the CAC, but she's ready to move on. So we will be reaching out to Lafayette very soon for a replacement representative.
She will be missed. Please
Yes,
let
For
her know.
sure.
I think a round of applause for Miss Vega. A Zoom round of applause. And her presence will be indeed missed. So thank you for that. And we're going to look into maybe we'll see her presence in a meeting as a guest in the future, because I know she was very involved. So looking forward, we're at number 6. On number 5, we don't have any correspondence in the packet. As far as comments about correspondence and communications, is there a topic that anybody wants to see in future CAC agendas? Can somebody raise their hand or make a comment?
Hi, this is Claire from Concord.
Yes, sir.
I would be interested in a presentation on induced demand.
What was that?
How
Induced?
did you know that's what I've been spending my days and nights on? We're in the middle of responding to Caltrans's guidance for how to measure induced demand. So that is something staff or our consultants can definitely present.
Thanks.
Thank you, Claire. Anybody else? Okay. At this point, I want to thank everybody for giving me such a great year. I had such a good time doing this committee, chairing this committee. It was more entertaining, and it was harder than I expected. And I think this is a very good tradition that we have some different members, and we get to pass the gavel or the Kia hammer or whatever we use in the future. And I want to thank every single member of this committee for bearing with me, for being involved, for helping me out, for everything I forgot. The CCTA staff, especially Matt Kelly and Fifi and all the staff. Thank you so much for preparing me, and I look forward to seeing our new chair and our new vice chair, Mr. Rosenberg and Mr. Miller. And good luck, and hopefully we're gonna have a very different type of transportation we're gonna be learning about very soon in the coming months. And I just want to say thank you to all you guys, and thank you for having a good time with us.
Zane, you've done an outstanding job, and you've done it well, and also it's been enjoyable having you in that position. You really you have much to be proud of, and we've enjoyed working at your side.
Thank you. I will. Do you have any more comments? That's about it. So I will adjourn this meeting, and this is adjourned to the next regular meeting proposed for July 22nd at 6 p.m. The meeting adjourned on Zoom at 7:36 p.m. You guys have a great time this summer. See you soon.
See you soon, Zane.
Everyone.
Have a great night, guys.
Be